What's going on, good people? What's going on? Welcome to the second episode of Just a Fan podcast. My name is Tristan. We got your boy Brandon. We got Steve right here.
Yo,
Definitely excited for the second episode, the second week. First of all, I want to say thank you to everyone that tuned in last week. Thank you for everyone that tuned in, commented. Um, Everyone that liked our pages, joined our pages, and all that. Really appreciate y'all. We don't take these things for granted at all in any shape or form. So we really appreciate y'all. We've been excited to get into this. Be sure to follow all of our social medias. I'm about to put them up right now so you guys can see them. Be sure to follow our Instagram, Just a Fan Pod. Just type in Just a Fan Pod. You'll see our Instagram on there. Also, be sure to check out our YouTube, where if you missed the episodes here, or somebody that wants to look back at the episodes, they can check them out on YouTube. This is Just a Fan Podcast. Just look up Just a Fan Podcast. You see it below on your screen. All right, and then make sure that we follow the Facebook page, which we're Facebook Live right now, so everybody know. But just in case you're watching it, someone else wants to watch it, just tell them to type in "I'm Just a Fan Podcast." They'll find it on Facebook as well. So, and let me also say this: you can follow us on Twitter. All right, JAF Podcast, the number three, JAF Podcast, the number three on Twitter. You see all these lower third tags on your screen right now, so you can follow us and see what's going on. All right, so cool. We're gonna get started. We got a lot to talk about today. It's been a crazy week 5 in the NFL. I mean, it was given NBA drama vibes. That's what it was really giving, and we got to really get into it and dig into it. As you can see here, the topics that we're going to be going over. Of course, we're going to be talking about Jon Gruden. We're going to talk about Urban Meyer. We're going to talk about issues with the Chiefs overall, Patrick Mahomes, and we're going to go over the Week 5 game. So let's start this
uh,
thing off with the hot
Tristan,
topics. Yeah, yeah.
what's up with these coaches, man?
Hey,
What they what are they doing out here?
hey, man. Hey, it's like the Wild Wild West in the NFL, man. Hey, anything goes, anything can happen. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna get right into it with the man Chucky himself, also known as Jon Gruden. Um, listen, listen. The New York Times don't play. Okay, when the New York Times puts your business out there, you in trouble. You gonna have some issues. So, for those that didn't know, Jon Gruden, the New York Times put out a report originally starting from last week with Jon Gruden putting out, having emails for I guess a 7-year span while he was still an employee with ESPN. Had emails going sent to Bruce Allen. That's all that we know as far as the recipient for right now. These emails were exposed due to the investigation that began with the Washington football team, with all the off the field issues that the organization had with training staff and with Bruce Allen himself, that basically made Washington clean house and put Dan Snyder's ownership in jeopardy. So here we are, and we're looking at these emails and just getting a little bit of the snippets of what was said. He basically talked about Demore Smith, who is the president of the NFLPA, and made some comments that were from a racially charged in regards to features of the black man, and that was something that we looked upon and was talked about, and it seemed like that might have been the worst of it. And then last night during Monday Night Football, the New York Times just came down with a hammer, disclosing more information. Basically, he basically went South Park on the emails. That's basically the best way I can
Mhm.
put it. He went full blown South Park on the emails. I mean, we're talking about racial innuendos. We're talking about homophobic innuendos, misogynistic comments. I mean, whatever you could possibly think of, he said in this emails. And again, this is over a 7-year span. Ultimately led to the resignation slash firing of one Jon Gruden from the Las Vegas Raiders. Signed a 10-year contract worth $100 million. I believe we had 6 more years of that contract to go. We don't know the details of how that will go on as far as the contract's concerned. But this
Well,
is where we are.
I'm sure, when they sign these contracts, I'm sure the Raiders owe him no more money because I'm sure they say, it's kind of detrimental to the team, right? So, and the fact that he resigned, so technically he quit, right? He kind of went out gracefully instead of being fired, maybe.
Yeah, but can you say that it's conduct detrimental to the team if the act didn't happen while he was an NFL head coach? It happened while he was an ESPN analyst. That's the gray area of that. So that's what I'm saying. As far as the money is concerned, I'm not sure how the rest of that $60 million is going to shake out for the rest of that contract. But overall, what we got to talk about, which is the more important thing, is the fact that Mark Davis had to act and find a way to get him out of there, and we're seeing that the NFL wasn't going to stand for it or be okay with the situation, which is, to be perfectly honest, is a far cry from how they used to be. Everybody knows that the NFL has not been that way. They kind of go a blind eye to a lot of things that players and coaches and GMs do. And ever since everything with Colin Kaepernick and the Black Lives Matter movement, and even with women rights, and things of that nature, all those things have come ahead now, which has forced the NFL to act accordingly when these heinous things take place. Guys, tell me your thoughts. Steve, I'll start with you. You tell me your thoughts about this with Jon Gruden, and just how do you feel about this whole thing and how it went down?
I mean, he definitely brought it upon himself, and being that he spoke like that in the work setting, it kind of makes you think what are some things he may have said in a private setting or social setting. I don't think the Raiders owe him money since he resigned. I think he probably had a conversation with owner Davis and was like, they probably discussed like, well, we can. I don't see how they could have fired him though. Like I don't know if that would have been wrongful termination. I really don't know, but I do know that they don't owe him money since he resigned. I think his media career is over as well. I really think so. I don't know what network's going to pick him up after all of that, and then what they have to deal with if they choose to pick him up or get into discussions for a position there. So I think he's done.
That's heavy. Brandon, what are your thoughts?
Well, I don't think any network's gonna pick him up at all. But Jon Gruden really showed who he really is as an individual. You can't. I mean, yeah, you can say it, but you don't want to say it in emails, or you don't want to say it to the wrong people. If you're going to say if you're going to say negative things about others, you keep it to yourself, or you talk to people about it who you trust that's not going to sit there and tell a whole bunch of other people. Emails, you leave a paper trail. That stuff is there permanent.
Well, I don't think. He shouldn't have said that anyways. And
no,
he didn't even apologize. He said, "I'm sorry if I hurt you." Like I didn't. No, he said, "I didn't mean to hurt anybody." Yeah, you didn't mean it, but you still said it. You still did. You still said it.
Right. I'm not saying should have said it, but what I'm saying is when you say negative stuff, you need to either, like I said, keep it to yourself. Or if you are going to tell somebody, then you need to be talking to someone who's not going to, sit there and say, "Oh, well, he said such and such." You see what I'm saying?
So, but remember these. So it's not like someone told on it.
I know
email surface because of the investigation, But I mean, he shouldn't say it in general. He shouldn't say it at home. He shouldn't say it in emails or anything.
Right. I agree with that. I mean, you're going off of saying like, oh well, I didn't, like he said, I didn't mean to hurt anyone. That was his closed statement after resigning from the Raiders. You didn't mean to hurt anyone. Well, what you said is hurtful. Like I don't understand how you're saying you didn't mean to hurt anyone when what you said was hurtful. Like that makes no sense to me. That seemed kind of off.
The reason why he didn't mean to hurt anyone because he didn't think that those would surface. You see what I'm saying? He didn't mean to hurt anyone because he didn't mean for those to get out.
Or what could even be worse is that he's saying he didn't mean to hurt anyone because he honestly didn't believe what he said was out of bounds. That's even worse. That really tells you the kind of character that he has, like, or lack thereof. I mean, some of the stuff that he said on there, you're just like, wow. And I think for me, and I'm gonna go into this as well because Steve, you brought it up off air earlier today, and it was something that I was thinking about even yesterday. What really kind of puzzles me through this whole thing is the fact that not only that I feel like Mark Davis was trying to slow foot this thing, which I didn't like personally, but also what bothered me was that it just seemed like we knew about what he said about Demore Smith from last week. Okay, we knew exactly what he said and how he described him last week. We knew exactly what was being talked about last week, and it just seemed like that we were going to reach a point where they were just going to, just go ahead and kind of put it under the bridge. You know, he said, he addressed the team, he addressed the owners, he addressed the players. He went and after the game on Sunday, in which the Raiders played lifeless, he addressed how quote unquote sorry he felt and all that stuff. This was all prior to what we learned last night. And it just seemed like once we heard about the comments he made about Roger Goodell and what he called him, using the P word, what he said about his thoughts about Jeff Fisher and Michael Sam, those things like that. Once and then his thought about the whole women being referees in the league and things of that nature. When we got to that place, then it seemed like the snowball effect started to come in. Now he's a quote unquote bigot. Now he's this very discriminatory person and all this stuff. This is now all that energy is now coming in. Where was the energy when he said what he first said about Demore Smith? Where was the energy then? And that's what's disturbing, and it bothers me. And I was watching Undisputed this morning, and I was listening to Shannon Sharp, and he said the exact thing that I was thinking. It's like when you hear black people comment and say what they gotta say about how they feel disrespected or how we feel undervalued and things of that nature. When we get to that place, the reason why we're saying it is because y'all making it seem like once we say it, we're just discounting everything else. We're not just discounting the LGBTQ community. We're not discounting women. We're not discounting other minorities and all that. But what we're saying, we as black people are also the minority. When is someone going to stand up for us the way we see everybody stand up for every other group, for every other minority group? When is somebody going to stand up for us that same way, that same fervor? Because it really looked like it was about to be water under the bridge. They were just going to figure out how to ride the wave and continue on with the season. But now that all the other stuff came out last night, now if you force them into resignation or firing, now Tampa Bay Buccaneers are taking them out of the Ring of Honor. Now all this stuff is taking place. Where was that energy over the weekend? Where was that energy on Thursday, Friday? Where was all that coming from then? That's the part that's so disappointing, and it really shows how far we still have to go in order for black people, specifically black people, to have the equal feelings and emotions heard and valued the way the other minority groups are.
Yeah, and you could tell, I mean, even on Sunday, you could tell the Rays, like, that was heavy on the team, man. That was heavy on the team. You could tell.
For sure.
You could tell when the team doesn't want to play for a coach. I can name some teams and coaches now, even last season and stuff. You could tell when the team isn't really feeling you as coaches, not giving that effort. That's what happened Sunday when they played the Bears. Until they weren't really fooling with him like that.
Right.
So that's
what happened. And shout outs to Maurice for commenting and watching the show. Appreciate you. He asked, and I'm gonna put it up here again. He asked that so if he only makes comments about DeMaurice in 2011 and nothing else, does he still have a job? I honestly believe so. I honestly believe he would still be employed with the Las Vegas Raiders. It would be something they would just kind of skate underneath the bridge.
He just coached through it on Sunday.
Exactly. So, and that's the part that's so bothersome. And we have to be better than that. We have to get to a better place than that. Like that to me is too crazy.
Yeah, let's shift gears to Urban Meyer, man.
Man,
they said this dude, there are all kinds of rumors coming out of the locker room. How he needs to, and the owner said he needs to earn trust back. And the thing is, they're not even winning too. I mean, I know it's not about winning and losing, but it's like I know for a fact if they were undefeated and he was showing that video, nobody would have said anything. But when he got to Jacksonville, there were some questions about some moves he was making. The Tebow thing, when he brought in the staff member from Iowa that had a known racially sensitive history, with players and stuff. They're like, this guy came in and they were already questioning his moves. Now he's losing, and now he's showing out with behavior that the team isn't feeling. He might be on his way out too. They might just fire him.
Brandon, what you think about that with Jacksonville before I chime in on that?
Well, just want to say that real quick that this man really lacks leadership. I mean, yeah, he was a successful college coach, really starting off at Utah and then Florida and then Ohio State, but NFL is completely different. I agree. He could be the second coach out. We could have 2 vacancies immediately. And I'll be interested to see who the team hires come January.
And Aaron Rodgers made a comment because apparently Urban Meyer addressed the team, and when he began to address the team, the players are laughing at him. They were laughing at this man. And Aaron Rodgers said, "Give respect." He said, "Man, these guys are professional athletes." He said, "They're not afraid of you controlling their fate. They're not afraid of you determining whether they, make a living playing pro ball. They're already in the league. These are grown men. They're laughing at you, man." So the locker room's already lost, and they haven't won a game yet.
Right. I think the first of all, Urban Meyer is a wild man, dog. Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a stack. Shout outs to Nathaniel that's watching. Shout outs to Ashley Baker. Ashley Baker's big time, guys. She just did her. I'm gonna just shout out my friends real quick. She just did an interview with Joy Taylor on Joy Taylor's show on this past Saturday. She's doing amazing things. She has her own show about nothing but sports. Be sure to check her out as well. So shout out to Ashley Baker. We'll definitely have her on this show for sure. She's a Cowboys fan. But that's I know you guys will be cool with that. But other than her being a Cowboys fan, she's good people. So shout out to Ashley. Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer's a wildcat, man. When I saw that video, all I could do was laugh. And I feel like my reaction was the reaction of the team. Like, no one's upset. It's just like, you gotta laugh. It's like, bro, like, you're a head coach.
That's an Urban Meyer lookalike, man. Why they messing with this man? That was really him.
I looked at that thing like 20 times. I was like, maybe they got it wrong, But nah, that was him. And I'm just like, man. And the person I feel for the most is the obvious, Trevor Lawrence. Okay, Trevor Lawrence. After the game he had against the Bengals, where that was the first time that I had the thought process of the wow factor. There were probably like four or five plays in that game where I was like, wow, okay, I really felt like that. So I see where I always said he was warranted of the number 1 pick, but when you got a coach that just does not seem all focused, and it's the problem with some of these head coaches that come from college and NFL is totally different. College, they're the judge, the jury, the executioner. Like, they have full autonomy. They have full control. And in the NFL, it's not like that. You got to answer to a GM who still has to answer to the NFL owner. Then if you got a franchise player that's been there before you got to answer to the franchise player. You know what I'm
And the
saying?
fans and the city.
And the fans and the city. I mean, you think Matt LaFleur could just say whatever he want to say to Aaron Rodgers without Aaron Rodgers being okay with it? Like that don't happen. So these are the situations that you run into in the NFL, and then when you got somebody like Urban Meyer that has so much control for so long in so many programs. I mean, Utah, Florida, Ohio State, like he's had so much control for so long. It's hard for him to let that go. And he's been getting away with stuff. You can't listen. You can't tell me that you had the kind of roster that you had at Florida with all those guys that got them character issues. For all the great players that they've had, and for Tim Tebow to kind of be the glass over that program, you still had an Aaron Hernandez, okay? You still had a Percy Harvin who had his own issues. Some of them defenders that had their own issues. You had some character people. And everywhere you've gone, you've had character people. You had character people at Utah. You had character people at Ohio State. Even your staff. I mean, and look what he's done in the NFL. Look who he tried to hire during the offseason. Like, these are the things that you can't get away with in the league. So
Nah.
if he's not fired in the middle of this season, I'll be shocked if he really can come back next season. And I understand I think he got a 6-year contract, but they'll find man. Khan has to find a way. Before you lose your team, your fan base, you better figure it out, because to have Trevor Lawrence under that kind of dysfunction makes no sense at all.
And yeah, Khan's back is against the wall because there was already talk about them moving the team, about them not being popular enough, small market team. And it's like, okay, you got the number 1 draft pick. All right, you bring in Urban Meyer, big name. Then it's like, you're not winning. He's doing this. The team is, looking dysfunctional, or at least the coaching staff is. Khan's like, man, I'm hoping I don't get, voted out, the next owners meeting or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, it sucks. It sucks when you're in the same state as Tom Brady. It sucks, man. I mean, Tampa just won the Super Bowl. Okay? And you're talking about a Jacksonville Jaguars team, and this is why the fans feel the way they feel. You talking about a Jacksonville Jaguars team that how many years ago was that? Maybe 5, 6 years ago was in the AFC Championship?
I think it was a little more recent than that, yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And then
4 or 5 years ago.
And then look who dispersed since then. You had a high draft pick in Leonard Fournette. You had Jalen Ramsey. They're all flourishing. Leonard Fournette won a Super Bowl after you cut him. So I mean, and was an integral part of the win. So these are things that, if I'm a Jaguars fan, I'm losing my mind. I'm legit losing my mind. So yeah, Khan got to figure out something, man. He gotta shake that up. You gotta get somebody.
I don't know many Jacksonville fans, but the few ones I do know, they got about 2 or 3 favorite teams. So that should say it all right there.
That should say it all. All right, so let's go ahead and move forward from the debacle of the coaches. Man, whew, them old coaches. That's why bringing the new blood, man. You got people like Jon Gruden and Urban Meyer, and yet Eric Bieniemy still sitting there being the coordinator.
Chris Richard.
I'm trying to understand. I'm just trying to understand. Now, let me say this before we push forward. They did say, you're right, Maurice. It doesn't seem like college coaches transfer all too well, except for shout-outs to Matt Rule. Matt Rule's doing a pretty good job over there in Carolina. He's doing an okay job, man.
He's doing okay.
Yeah,
he doing
that's what I
said. He doing all right.
Listen, man. I know your standards are high. I get it. I understand.
He doing all right.
He doing okay.
Well, of course, his standards are high. Jimmy Johnson came from college to pro and went and took Dallas to back-to-back Super Bowls.
Okay, here you go. See, Cowboy people always want to hang their hat on Jimmy. Hey, man, I tell you, boy.
Standards.
Y'all get that man a statue yet? Y'all get Jimmy Johnson a statue yet, man? Jesus.
Nah, Matt Rule's doing all right. I don't think he'll make the playoffs. But
y'all just hang your hat on Jimmy J, man. I'm telling you.
Brand, I'm talking about other teams, man.
But the rumor before we push off to the next thing, the rumor in regards to in Las Vegas is that they feel like the only way, after all that's transpired, the only way that this can look progressive is if they hire a minority coach. They say that's the only way. You can't hire
That's what they're saying.
these old coaches out here. You can't do that. They say it's got to be a minority coach. So
It might as well be. It might as well be Behenemy then.
Do you think, Eric? Do you think Well, I guess they don't have a choice, do they? Because I mean, he's not under a long contract with Kansas City, right?
I think.
They can.
In the division.
Look, money talks, and Mark Davis had to do some convincing. But you also got to remember too, Gruden did those emails under ESPN more so than as a Raider. I mean, yeah, he became a Raider coach, but that happened during ESPN. So Mark Davis is not really connected to those emails.
So much. But when you hire head coaches, you're supposed to do your due diligence. And
that's true.
For me, I don't even think Mark Davis did any kind of research with Jon Gruden. It was like, hey, John, you want the job? Come back home. I mean, he's a Raider. He is a Raider through and through, whether you like it or not.
I think with Eric Bieniemy, depending on how the Chiefs season goes, man, his stock may fall a little bit. I don't think it should. We know it shouldn't. But
it shouldn't. The offense is not.
Shouldn't. I know.
It's not the offense. It's not the offense.
I know, but everyone doesn't look at it that way.
If anything, it's and we're going to talk about it in a second. If anything, it's Spagnola's stock is dropping. It ain't the offense.
You think Spagnola's trying to get another job out here?
Nah, but I'm saying if he was, he better think again. That's all I'm saying. Marie's saying, who would you hire? I mean, honestly, I would hire Eric Bieniemy. This is how when I look at the Raiders, okay, and we're really we got to move forward. We got other things to talk about. When I think about the Raiders, okay, you got Derek Carr, I'm like Keyshawn Johnson. I like Derek Carr. I know a lot of people aren't feeling Derek Carr. I know a lot of people ain't feeling Derek Carr. I like Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr is a fine coach. A fine quarterback. I really do. I think Derek Carr has gotten a raw deal from the moment that he stepped foot in the league. I think he's got a raw deal.
I'm with you on that.
So my whole thing is, you get somebody like Eric Bieniemy. I mean, an offensive whiz. Okay, you got the offensive line that's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. You still got Josh Jacobs. You got Waller at the tight end position. You got Henry Ruggs as your burner. You can add another, a couple other receivers to that offense. Okay, that defense is young. Okay, they're coming along. We like Crosby. Nassib is decent when he comes in rotation. All right, I think maybe if they improve their linebacking core a little bit, but the secondary is strong. Okay, so it's an interesting look. It's an interesting look, for sure. So I wouldn't be too upset for Eric Bieniemy to get his hands on that kind of team and see what he can do with it. I wouldn't be at all. But moving on. Let's go ahead and talk about the other team in the division that we were just talking about. Eric Bieniemy's team, current team, the Kansas City Chiefs. They lost to the Bills this past Sunday. This was an AFC Championship, rematch, and Josh Allen is looking like a stud, and really took it to that defense, man. I mean, listen, second to last, I think in points allowed. I think they're dead last in another category. I mean, it's a lot with the Chiefs defense. I mean, Steve, what do you got to say about the Chiefs overall?
Yeah, I think most people saw the game going that way. The way the Chiefs are playing, the way the Bills are playing. The Chiefs, they're just not closing out, and they're turning the ball over. It's not always, Pat Mahomes' fault, man. But they have. I think people are figuring them out. Keep Pat Mahomes in the pocket, play deep to cover Tyreek Hill. As you see, Tyreek Hill. Well, I think we all knew he's not really a hands guy. He's fast. He catches. When he gets open, he can catch it.
Right.
People in his face, he can drop it for a pick. And that happened a couple times. I think teams are figuring them out, man. And I think given that their defense isn't good either, it's not helping out the offense. And so as we talk about it, Pat Mahomes being forced to play a little bit of hero ball here and there. He can play better, but he's having to make up for how bad that defense is.
Brandon, what's your take?
Well, I talked about this last week about how bad the defense was.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also I think Mahomes is going to have to play hero ball as long as his team don't drive well, because that Super Bowl roster they had. I mean, Tyrann Mathieu was not their draft pick. They had a couple solid linebackers in Hitchens and Wilson. That's not their draft picks. Neither is Frank Clark. So I mean, yeah, you drafted Mahomes, Hill, and Kelsey, but you guys haven't really drafted much of anything since that Super Bowl victory.
So, what do you think? And I'm gonna toss to you first, Brandon. What do you think they need to do this coming off season? No matter how this season looks, it's still early. Things can change. Things can turn around. But just in case it doesn't really go in their favor, and what I mean by not going in favor, I think we can still pencil them in the playoffs. But I don't. I think right now, as far as the Super Bowl is shaky. And
Definitely.
I'm saying that as the least. What do you think, Brandon, that they should do this offseason before uh, um, Pat Mahomes' contract really starts kicking in? Because that's really where things can get a little dicey.
Well, overall, and this has always been my theory. If you know how to scout players, draft players, and develop them, then you should be able to hit on a lot of draft picks. They're going to have to add a couple receivers in the draft. They're going to have to let's see. They good on defense line because it's still Chris Jones and Frank Clark, but you might want to add some depth so that way they can catch a breather. Um, they drafted a linebacker in Nick Bolton, but they need to draft a corner. So corner and a couple receivers. Oh, and get a tight end because Travis Kelce just turned 32. So I'm not saying Kelsey's done, but 32 years old. I give him maybe what 2 to 4 years. So get the tight end now, get the tight end in now. Develop him under Kelsey. That way he's ready when Kelsey retires, because you want to be prepared for that. But corner, you can add another linebacker, D line depth, and a couple receivers.
Steve, what you think?
Yeah, well, I don't know about I can agree with Brandon about the draft, but I know that they need to start winning games because they're gonna need to attract veterans to that city that want to play bad enough in Kansas City that they may not take as much money as they possibly can get. Now, Pat Mahomes has got his deal, so I don't know how much money they have. I don't know what the cap situation is like, but I think they're gonna be a little cash strapped for a while, man. I really think they are. So, like Brandon said, hitting on draft picks is important because I don't know how many top tier veterans they can afford to bring in, or who they can keep there that's playing well now, the ones that are playing well.
Right. I can agree with that. I think Maurice asked, do we think the Chiefs declined, or did the rest of the NFL get better? I honestly think it's a little bit of both.
I agree. I agree.
I think them losing Sammy Watkins was a lot bigger than what they thought. I think they were so high on Nicole Harmon to do some things, and he was decent, but it's a lot easier when you're not relied upon as much. And now that with Sammy Watkins gone, he was relied upon to be more the possession guy,
possession receiver,
and he's not it. So that's definitely hurting them. The run game, they were a little more. People got to remember when they won the Super Bowl, they were a little more balanced in the run game. You had Damian Williams. You had the other guy. I forgot his name. It escapes me right now. And so when they drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire last year from LSU, we were like, oh man, you got like a Brian Westbrook type of player to go to Andy Reid's system, and thought it would have been more balanced, but they've been pass heavy all season long, and now he's hurt and he's going to be out for a while. So I think it's a little bit of both. And then you look in the division. You don't even have to look around the league. You can look in the division itself. The Raiders, the Broncos, and Chargers all improved drastically to compete with them. And my boy Justin Herbert. We're not going to dive into my thoughts on that, but just saying that my thoughts looking real correct right now. But Justin Herbert,
I ain't going that far.
Go ahead, Brandon. Go ahead.
No, okay. And the interesting thing, you said that because guess what? Over the last couple of drafts, each of those teams spent time drafting receivers. Maybe not so much the Chargers, but like the Broncos drafted Corliss Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, and KJ Hamler. The Raiders drafted Henry Ruggs. I mean, they knew that they had to compete with the Raiders and go toe to toe with them.
And another key thing that they not only drafted to keep up, but they also drafted to stop. They all drafted DBs. They all drafted DBs.
Yeah.
They all invested in DBs.
And I also think offensively, well, we just mentioned Sammy Watkins. They need a possession receiver. If Mecole Hardman and Tyreek Hill aren't open, they probably not coming down with the ball. Let's just call it what it is.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they need to, and they need to also, they're getting to that mode. I think they need to stop. Certain teams want certain players to shine so much and do too much, like Pat Mahomes. And I see it happening with the Rams. I see it happening with Matt Stafford, where he wants to get those numbers. He's going to make possibly a boneheaded play in efforts to get certain numbers to shine a little bit, and it's hurting them.
I think the Rams, even after watching the game against the Seahawks, I think the Rams are understanding that they got a little too excited in the beginning with Matt Stafford, with what he was doing in the first couple weeks, and realizing that they need to go back to being more of a balanced attack. So I think Sean McVay is going to clean that up. So I'm not writing them off too yet, especially in that division with 49ers down to whoever their third string quarterback is. I don't even know who it is. The Seahawks are going to be without Russell Wilson for a long period of time.
The Seahawks could have won that game. They could have won that game if he stayed. Well, first of all, they could have won it with when Geno.
They could have won it with Geno.
With Russ, and it's just it's because the Rams, I think, like you said, may have gotten a little too excited. But I mean, the play where Matt Stafford rolled out to the right, he's like at the 10. What he trying to throw it away in back of the end zone instead of probably getting 4 or 5 more yards on the ground.
Yeah.
And it happened to be intercepted.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Again, I think when a kid, you ever seen when a kid that ain't really come from much, and they go visit the friend that got a real rich parents.
They don't know how to act.
That's Matt Stafford right now.
Like,
so I think they'll settle in. I think they'll settle in. I think they'll be okay. But right now it's a 2-man race right now in the NFC West, because you got the Cardinals with Kyler Murray and the boys looking great, and now you got you still got the Rams. So we're gonna see what happens.
Let me tell you this though, man. The Niners, if I think if Shanahan had a better game plan drawn up for Trey Lance, they could have won that game, because defensively, Kyler Murray was having some issues, man.
Yeah,
he was having some issues, man.
Kyle Shanahan was trying to use Trey Lance as a freaking battering ram, and you can't do that.
Yeah,
you know, so that was the issue right there. You know, that should have never happened. So we'll see what happens with the way. I mean, we were talking about that, potentially being a 3-team going into the playoffs, but we might be looking at 2 with the Rams and the Cardinals. With 49ers Seahawks situation. So let's go ahead and get into these games for Week 5. Let's start off with the Ravens Colts game. Let's start off with the Monday night game last night. Lamar Jackson, Ashton Jackson, 37 of 43, 442 yards, 2 tubs. Hey man,
oh yeah, he balled.
He's just a running. He's a running back.
Listen, he can do it. Listen, well, we all know he can do it all. We all know he needs number 1. The Colts are bad, man. Like, they're not a good team. Why are the Ravens winning these games barely against these bad teams? Colts, Lions. What is it? Defense?
I don't know.
Because Carson Wentz had a game from what year is that? 2018 MVP caliber season. He put up 400 in the air. 17.
Yep.
Ravens defense got to tighten that up, man. Because offensively they can move the ball and get it done. Defensively, you can go against some real teams that have offenses and defenses.
Hey, listen. I think the Ravens secondary needs to tighten up for sure. Their linebackers are struggling, and I never thought I would see the day when Ravens linebackers struggle. I never thought I would see that. They've never had that issue. I mean, you talking about Ray Lewis, who played a number of years. When Bart Scott was in the lineup, it was fine. Even when Mosley was there, the linebacker was never an issue. But
And actually, and actually, you can go further back than that. When the 2000 Ravens, it was Ray Lewis, Peter Bower, and Jamie Sharper. But this might be the worst group of linebackers because
yes,
they drafted what's his name, Patrick Queen like
Queen.
2 years ago. But
and he's still it's slow. It's a slow development. It's a slow development.
So it's the worst group of linebackers the Ravens probably had. Probably in franchise. Well, let's say it easily says 2000.
Yeah.
And real talk, I mean, if Clay's Cameron doesn't block 2 kicks, man, they probably lose that.
They probably lose that game.
They probably I can't block a kick. You can't even block a kick in Madden. So they had some things working in their favor yesterday.
Listen,
they gotta get better, man.
I saw somebody with a Facebook status that said Jesus is a Ravens fan, and I'm starting to believe it because look, as great as Justin Tucker is, the greatest kicker in NFL history, he had to break the record for them to win. So I mean, I don't know, and the way they've been playing like that. Listen, as the season goes on, if that doesn't get cleaned up, you're not going to beat these good teams in the AFC playing like that. That's not going to happen. Especially for the secondary. I'm looking at the Chargers. I'm looking at the Chiefs. I'm looking at who else in the AFC? Even Joe Burrow and them with his receivers can probably do work against them. I mean, you're just not going to do that. You're not going to get away with that. For throughout the entire season. It's not going to happen. So, but shout out to Lamar Jackson, man. I mean, he's Mr. Do It All, man. I saw a stat that was crazy. He has more yards by himself.
Yeah, I saw that.
Than 18
like 8 teams, yeah.
What in the world?
Yeah.
What in the world, man? I mean, talk about
I do love to see it. I do love, man. The city of Baltimore, they love that dude, man. I mean, he put the city on his back, man.
Literally.
He doing his thing for the city.
I mean, you're talking about a guy that had COVID twice. I mean, to have the season, he's in the MVP talk. He's in the MVP talk, okay? And I'm just so happy. So at the time I was working for Fox Sports Radio when he was still in Louisville. And I had a segment that was called the Heisman Five. And so every week during the college football season, I would talk about the top 5 Heisman candidates. And that year I was talking about Lamar Jackson. And it was literally like after week 2, it was like Lamar Jackson all the way. And I remember, watching the draft, pre-draft and everything, combine and everything. And they were all talking about, is he going to be the quarterback that you can win a Super Bowl with? Is he going to be the quarterback that can last 10, 15 years in the league and get your team to win a Super Bowl? And he came in, and he was the last pick of the first round, wasn't it? They came back up, back up in the first round to get him. And we talk about the maturation and progression of Josh Allen. We got to talk about the maturation and progression of Lamar Jackson as a thrower. Okay, we already know how he is a freakish athlete, but as a thrower, and you talking about somebody that understood the assignment and is taking everything seriously, like. It's not only the throwing motion that he's cleaning up. It's not only the pocket presence that he's cleaning up, but it's even his body. He's been putting on muscle every single season. He's bigger. He's a little bigger. Because he knows what he's going to have to do. But that performance last night is a microcosm of the growth and maturation of Lamar Jackson.
And I was watching. I was like, I know he's about to scramble. I know he's about to roll out. He had opportunities too. He's like, I'm going to sit here a little bit longer, hit Mark Andrews.
Yes.
Hit Hollywood. I was like, okay. And I messed up my parlay, my FanDuel parlay, but still, he has more poise, has a little bit more patience. You know what I'm saying, to make a play with his arms instead of his legs.
And the thing about it is, he actually prefers that. He tells me, he's like, I want to be the person that just sits in the pocket and just carve up defenses. That's what he wants to do. He just knows he has the ability to escape and make some magic with his legs.
Or it's cold word for y'all folks ain't getting open for me.
yeah, for sure. So shout outs to them, man. I hope Greg Roman. It looks like you're going to keep your job for another year because he's keeping that thing humming along.
Let's stay in the Heisman house, man. What did James Winston do to your Washington football team, man?
Oh, man.
Why y'all let him do that to you?
Man, oh man. Listen, where do I begin with Washington, man? Where do I start, man?
Talk from the heart.
Something got to give.
Let's just call it what it is, man.
They're bad.
Defense.
It's bad. It's bad. We're not talking about the potential. Listen, no, they're just bad. They're bad. They're bad. The categories they're all bad. Okay, I don't know. I've never seen a defense. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to go in my memory bank. I'm really trying to think in history. Have I ever seen a defense that on paper looks so good, but then on the field looks so bad? I really don't recall. And
2000 Washington.
No, I ain't like that defense. I know what you're talking about. I wasn't really a fan of that defense, honestly. I know exactly what you're talking about. I wasn't a fan of that defense at all. But I like how you try to throw that jab in there, Brandon. You're funny. You have these guys on the D line, all first round picks, okay? All first round picks on the defensive line. And we're not generating enough pass rush. These are all pass rushing linemen. They're not clog the middle, just run stopping D linemen. They're all pass rushers. And to be quite honest, the most productive one is Matt Ioannidis, who wasn't even a first rounder. So to me, that's maddening. That's maddening. What's even more maddening, and y'all have heard me say it, and I've been screaming this from week one. You drafted a linebacker in the first round that can't get on the field. That is a problem. You are a head coach. You played linebacker for the Bears. Jack Del Rio, you are a head coach, played linebacker for the Raiders. You drafted a first-round linebacker that played you guys' position. Played your position.
Now
and
listen.
he can't get on the field. John Bostic is hurt. Okay? So we're thinking, okay, this might be more playing time. Do you know how many snaps Jamin Davis played in that game on Sunday? 13 snaps. 13 snaps. And you're a number one pick from this past draft. That makes something is wrong. Y'all have fumbled the bag with that one. That means y'all didn't evaluate him well enough. Y'all thought y'all were getting something and didn't get. I understand when they draft him, they say, "Oh, he's raw. He's going to be raw. He's going to have a learning curve a little bit." I get all that. Not that drastic. There's a guy in Kansas City, Bolton, number 54, was drafted in the 3rd round from Alabama, and he is a thumper. He is out there getting it. I mean, I know we talk bad about Kansas City defense, but he's not one of the problems on that defense. He is balling. So it's not an excuse. We got Joke that came from Notre Dame. He's the 2nd best rookie linebacker in the NFL behind Micah Parsons. And he's balling over there for the Browns. And he was coming off an injury. So that right there is a problem that we drafted a cat and it looks like we whiffed on that. Then we're looking at the secondary. For God knows why Landon Collins is still playing safety. I don't understand. Then you have the audacity to say that you want to wear number 21. Don't you ever in your life think that's going to be okay.
I didn't know that.
Whoa.
Yes, he wanted to change his number to 21 to honor Sean Taylor. You ain't honoring Sean Taylor the way you playing, bro. You getting burnt, bro. You getting burnt. You better listen. Can y'all have Keanu O'Neal call him and explain how life is great right now with him playing linebacker instead of safety? Can y'all handle that for me? And maybe he needs to hear it. Maybe he needs to hear it from someone that's doing the transition right now and doing it well. He needs to hear that.
And there's a difference between Sean Taylor and Landon Collins. Landon Collins is more of a box safety. Sean Taylor was more of a deep ball safety. So
Sean Taylor was more of everything.
Well, yeah, but
he did all very well.
Well, but Landon Collins not a deep ball safety. Let me put it that way.
Exactly. And so people are talking about the corners. Listen, Kyle Fuller, I get on Kyle Fuller. The other corner, they're rookies. And they're doing the best they can. It's not designed for the defense isn't designed for them to get exposed like that. The whole thinking was that front 4 was going to get enough pressure that allowed everybody else to be able to do their job easy. And Jack Del Rio is not adjusting at all. at all.
And he doesn't want to.
He does
what did
not
Rivera
want
say?
to. They are hanging their hat solely on the talent of the team. Well, the talent is not answering the bell. So we got to scheme it up. We got to do some things different. Send some corner blitzes. Send Landon Collins on a blitz.
Didn't they drop Chase Young back there, linebacker, one of the plays?
Yes. Why are we dropping Chase Young in the flat? That's not what you picked the number 2 to be.
Listen, this is when y'all brought in Ron Rivera. And a lot of folks were saying, defensive-minded coach coming in. We got a defensive-minded coach now. It doesn't help you if he's not calling defensive plays, if he's not coming up with the schemes, if he's not bringing in defensive talent. Him being defensive-minded does what for the team if he's not involved with the actual defense?
I mean, it does nothing. It does nothing. And I think what's bothering me is you had the post game and you really sat there and said, "Oh, there's nothing that needs to be changed right now." What do you mean? We're only 2-3. If there was ever a time to make changes, it's right now. We still in it.
That is true. Record-wise, you guys actually are now.
I'm not even thinking about the division. I'm not thinking about the division crown. I think everyone knows that the Cowboys are going to win the division handily. I'm not remotely thinking about that. But to get into the playoffs, no, that is for sure still available to us. Okay? That is for sure available to us. The offense has honestly exceeded my expectations. Taylor Heineke is playing the best he can. Now, he got a little noodle arm. I think Scott got to do a couple things differently with the offense. You can't set him up to make some of these throws because he can't do it. Physically, he can't do it. He can see it. He knows what to do. He physically can't get the ball in certain spots that kind of way. So you gotta fix some stuff with that. But he's playing pretty decent football, and the offense is not. The team overall is not a bad team when you look at it from talent perspective. But you got to change the philosophy of that defense, man. That's just not working. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to have that much on that defensive side of the ball and for it to look like that. It's very embarrassing.
Yeah, and your schedule, y'all, you got to still.
It's murder's row.
Yeah, it is. The Saints game was a game you guys were supposed to.
We had to win. We had to win. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I can go on and on about Washington, man. We're gonna move on. I don't even want to do that to myself. I want to actually have a good sleep tonight. Let's go ahead and talk about. Let's go ahead and talk about the Chargers and the Browns, man. Chargers-Browns game. I more so want to get into the Browns because I want to talk about Baker Mayfield. Y'all, Brandon, I'm gonna let you start. What's your thoughts on Baker, man?
Baker should not have been no more overall pick when during that draft. It should have been Sam Darnold. I think Baker Mayfield is thriving because of the offensive line. Being in that Kevin Stefanski offense that's Shanahan related. And they have two fantastic running backs in Chubb and Hunt. And the receivers are Landry. Now, OBJ hasn't really played that much this season, right? Or am I wrong?
He just came back like 2 weeks ago, so I think that was.
He just came back. Okay, yeah. So, I mean,
yeah, they have him running reverses. Coming out the backfield all day.
They did that last year.
Yeah. So Baker Mayfield is pretty much thriving behind all that, but he's not the kind of quarterback that would lead a team. He shouldn't have been no more overall. It seems like if you go back to that draft, Lamar, and I said Sam Darnold, it really should have been Lamar 1, Allen 2, Darnold 3, and then Baker Mayfield 4.
Baker probably should have been in the second round.
Yeah, you might be right. And I wasn't saying like overall pick. I'm just saying like the order the quarterback should have gone. I wasn't saying like what round.
So Steve, let me toss this question to you. Do you think the Browns, maybe not this season, do you think the Browns can ever, I'm not even going to say winning, can they ever get to a Super Bowl with Baker Mayfield at the helm?
I don't think so. I don't think the Browns play together as a team offensively. I mean, defensively, they gave up a ton of points too. But I don't think they play together, man. You look last week, Baker's fussing with Jarvis on the sideline and stuff like that, man.
You just don't think. You
I
think
don't
this
see
is.
it.
You think
I
this
don't
is something
see
that
it.
could possibly combust. So I heard someone talk about Baker Mayfield almost in the Trent Dilfer light. Just a guy that's there.
No, I wouldn't say that.
I listen. That's where they went. They felt as though the team is okay in spite of Baker.
I think he's a good quarterback. He's definitely talented. Now, as far as being on the same page with his offense is and being a leader of that offense, that's where they're struggling.
I got you. Well, listen, the Browns got to figure it out. I'm gonna quickly just go. Let's quickly go over about the Chargers. I know people. Listen, I'm not. Everybody that's watching, listen. I guess I've been the president of the Justin Herbert fan club. Listen, I'm not crowning the man as the best in football. I'm not crowning him as better than Patrick Mahomes. All I'm saying is that the boy's good. That's all I'm saying. The boy is good. I understand the advantages that he has. Okay, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, got tight ends. Eckler is looking great. Got one of the better offensive lines of football, and you got a defense that knows how to turn the ball over and give you good field position. I get all that. All that is clear. Justin Herbert is still a bad boy, man. He's only, 22, 23 years old. I mean, got the baby face going, you know what I'm saying? Got the surfer boy hair.
He's playing well right now.
Listen, the Chargers belong in San Diego, but Justin Herbert looks like an LA kid. I'm just saying. The boy rocking it, okay? He's doing good. And he doesn't make the mistakes. I think for me, that's what's selling me on him. He can make all the wild plays that Patrick Mahomes can make. I really do believe that. I think he's athletic enough. He doesn't have the big arm like Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, he doesn't have the arm talent, but he's
doesn't have
he's
the arm talent.
close. He's there.
He's a great thrower. But I ain't gonna put him arm for arm. I ain't gonna put him there. There's throws that Patrick Mahomes do. Listen, I think only Aaron Rodgers could do it.
Yep.
So I'm not going to do that. But he does have enough talent in that arm to do some work, and he's very underrated as far as his athleticism, and he's a big kid. Again, I truly believe that Oregon held him back. I believe that with the situation that he's in, the coach that he has, because the coach believes in him, the coach is aggressive with him, they can really make some noise in this AFC, man. They can really make some noise in this playoff as long as the defense stays healthy. As long as Joey and Derwin James specifically, if they stay healthy, this Chargers team is going to look like something. This Chargers team is really going to hurt some people's feelings in this playoff game. And I'm just saying, just watch Justin Herbert. I understand you need Super Bowl MVP, you need Super Bowl win, you need the MVP. I get it. But he in the MVP talk, so he might get at least one of them things this season. He might. So, I mean, he might. I ain't saying he will. I ain't saying he will.
I don't see how they can get past Buffalo.
Listen, I know. Listen.
Giving up 40+ points to the Browns.
Hey, listen. They had an off one. I do agree. If they play like that against the Bills are going to blow them out. Bills has already put up what? How many points did the Bills put up on Sunday against the Chiefs? Let me look at that score again. But
about 40 plus.
So that's the third game. That's the third game that the Bills have put up a 40 burger on a team. I mean, listen. I ain't gonna front about Josh Allen and them, but I'm just saying Justin Herbert's looking good, man. I like seeing him play for real. Let's move forward. Let's go on. Let's go ahead and talk about. I guess we can talk about the Cowboys Giants game. I guess we can talk about them boys. I guess we can.
I'm gonna let Brandon lead that one.
All right, go ahead, Brandon. Go ahead. You go ahead and talk about the Cowboys and Giants game.
You know what the crazy thing is? The Cowboys can play sloppy football and still rack up points like crazy. Dak Prescott had a tip pass intercepted. There was a bad snap that resulted in a fumble turnover. So, truthfully, in that first half, if it wasn't for the turnovers, they could have scored more points. but they made up for it in the second half. They have 2 receivers capable of going over 1,000 yards, 2 running backs capable of going over 1,000 yards, a tight end capable of going over 950. I mean, that offense is going to be extremely hard to defeat. The defense, Dan Quinn has a plan for the players who are not just developing but succeeding. The D line, from D line to linebackers to secondary, and you can just see it. Dallas owns this division, and Dallas should win a whole lot of games this season.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
But
the schedule is very favorable for Dallas. I mean, it just is. When the schedule was released, everyone goes through their team schedule and see who's a win, who's a loss, and I saw Dallas having maybe 2 losses at this point because early on I said, okay, Chargers could beat us, which they could have. But yeah, I mean they're playing well, and the schedule's favorable, so winning games we're supposed to win.
all right. I guess I could say no. On seriousness, no. The Cowboys look great. Cowboys look like they are the one of the most complete teams in the NFC. Not even just division, but in the NFC in general. Dan Quinn has proven to be a godsend. Potentially could be coaching himself into another head coaching opportunity, possibly. Just the way he flipped that defensive unit.
Dude.
Michael Parsons, I think Michael Parsons probably got it. I know Joke is kind of nipping on his heels, but I think Michael Parsons might have defensive rookie of the year locked in.
Let me say this. I'm gonna interrupt you. Dan Quinn is not getting enough credit, man. This dude, the schemes that he's running are throwing offenses off, confusing offenses, which are causing turnovers. And again, I said it last week, they're giving Dak a short field to work with, man.
Yeah.
They're giving that offense a short field to work with. And that's a recipe for a loss if you're an opposing team to Dallas.
For sure. Like I said, I have them crowning them, as far as the division crown for sure. And listen, Dallas, this is the most sure I've seen Dallas be as a team since Dak and Zeke's rookie year. And so it really looks like some noise can really be made in the playoffs if they keep it up, and barring any, God forbid, any injuries coming to any, key players on the team.
But I'm going to say this, though. I still need Mike McCarthy to get smarter with some of his game time decisions, man. Because
definitely,
if Dallas goes as far as people are expecting him to, whatever the case may be, it's going to come down to his decisions, man. It's going to come down to fourth down decisions. And right now he's great. I think he's great at preparing the team, game planning, like I said, week preparation, things like that. The culture is great.
Yep.
But when it comes to some of these fourth down decisions, man, he's still making me nervous. I'm not gonna lie, real nervous.
I understand that. That's understandable. So we'll see if he smartens up. Listen, your head coach can lose you a game. Your head coach can lose you a game, no matter how much talent is on the field. So we'll really see what that looks like for these coming seasons. It's still so early in the season when you think about. I mean, they literally added one more week, but that one more week makes such a difference.
I feel like the season's never going to end.
It just seems like it's never ending. Like
it's only one game.
One game was added, but it just seems like man, you still got 12 games to go. Like, it's crazy. Let's talk about, and we're going to wrap it up, so we'll just do a quick take on this game. The Cardinals and 49ers. And either one of you guys could take that up. Just do a quick thing before we end the show.
Like I said, the Niners defense, man. The Niners defense keeps in a lot of games. When Jimmy's having a bad game, the Niners defense, man, constantly keeps their offense in the game, man. And they were doing that to Kyler Murray. He couldn't do anything. And I hope Dan Quinn was watching, but I know some D coordinators are like, okay, This is how we contain Kyler Murray. This is how we do it. Let's send these packages. Because if he has time in the pocket, man, those receivers they get open. That's my concern. I spoke with Brandon about it. When Dallas plays them, I think it's week 17. They'll probably flex that game if it's not already a primetime game. Those receivers get open, man. They get open. If he has time in the pocket, they can put up a lot of yards on people, man.
For sure. Listen, the experiment is working. I mean, we said it. Cliff Kingsbury has not had a successful college career based on his record. You come in and bring in this air raid offense. You basically handcuff the franchise to give you Kyler Murray with that number one pick after they had drafted Josh Rosen, as a first rounder of the year prior. So the experiment is working, and the defense looks good. Buda Baker is definitely one of my favorite safeties in the league, and J.J. Watt's still doing his thing at his long tooth age. Chandler Jones is still a monster out there. They're finally, Brandon, remember you and I talked about this last year. They're finally using Isaiah Simmons the way thank God. I felt so bad for that boy last year, but now he's looking like a high draft pick that he is. And Kyler Murray, man, I mean,
yeah, they run the ball well with Connor. They're a very well balanced team, man.
Very well balanced.
They're a very well balanced team,
Christian Kirk coming along nicely. You got D Hop. You got AJ Green.
AJ Green
found the fountain of youth apparently.
I think they said Isabella there. I think is he still
Isabella.
There? Yeah,
it's a great group. It's a great group, and so their team I'm definitely looking forward to seeing in the playoffs as well. Okay, let me go. Let's answer this question, and this question will be the question to end the show. Shout out to Maurice. He's been hanging with us the whole time, watching us, man. Appreciate you, big dog. He said if you had to make Super Bowl predictions right now, it's very early, Maurice. It's very early. Who is it? I don't know if we can give you who's gonna win. We can try to give you maybe what the matchup would be. I don't know if we give you win. It's way too early, but
I know why Mo asked this. I know why Mo asked this.
We'll give it a shot. Go ahead, Steve. You go ahead first. I need time to think.
It's still early, man. I think the Bills are going to be in it when it's all said and done. I think the Bills or the Ravens. Ooh. If the Ravens play better, if the defense plays better, it's going to be either the Bills or the Ravens in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Against, I got to pick Dallas. Dallas or Tampa.
Okay, Brandon.
I'm going last.
Out of the AFC right now, if I had to pick, put a gun to my head. The AFC. I gotta go with the Bills.
I thought you were gonna say Chargers. I just knew you were gonna say Chargers. I knew you were gonna say Chargers.
I'm not gonna say it because of that performance that they had against the Browns. And the Bills' defense is very stout, and Josh Allen, with Stephon Diggs, Beasley, Manuel Sanders, Knox. Listen, the Bills. I got the Bills for sure. The NFC. I got to go with Tampa until I see something different. I understand what's going on with their secondary, with all the injuries, but some of them guys, it's not season ending. And like I said, this is a long season. A lot of those guys are going to be coming back in the back end. So as long as that offense can kind of just keep the ship afloat, really, until that secondary gets back healthy, JPP gets back healthy to help Shaq Barrett. They still got the linebackers with, Vontae David and Devin White and them boys. Leonard Fournette is still doing his thing. They want to get Gronk back healthy from the rib fractures. Antonio Brown's looking like Steelers. Antonio Brown.
He's balling, man.
I can't say another team until I see this in the end and Tampa's not involved. So I got to go with Tampa. So I'm going to say the Bills versus Tampa. I can't give you a winner, Maurice. I can't give you a winner. But I'm going to say Bills versus Tampa. And Maurice has Cowboys versus the Bills. So a little bit of '90s nostalgia for the Super Bowl. That would be
Actually,
something.
and actually, that was my pick. And actually, I got Dallas winning by 2.
Woo! Okay, great. Winning by 2. Hey, listen. The Bills got there 4 times in the '90s. Okay,
I know. I understand.
there's a chance. Hey, they could right the wrong.
I know.
They could right the wrong. Okay, how fitting would that be for the Bills versus the Cowboys and for them to right the wrong?
Diggs against Diggs.
Diggs versus Diggs.
Come on, football gods. Come on. Now, see, here's the problem. Here's the problem that I have. Anytime I get excited about the storyline of a Super Bowl matchup, it never comes to pass. You remember the time when we thought we was going to see TB12 versus Aaron Rodgers, and I think Aaron Rodgers got screwed. We thought we were going to see Patrick Mahomes versus Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers had that choke job against the 49ers. Like, I never get the dream match in the Super Bowl, but this Bills and Cowboys would definitely. Diggs
Cole
versus
Beasley
Diggs.
against his
Cole
former
Beasley
team.
against his
Oh
own
my
team?
goodness. Hey, look, look, the Super Bowl ratings were.
Listen, I'm already excited. Hey, listen, you're gonna see everybody come out. Everybody coming out for that game. Reed, Jim Kelly, Thurman, everybody coming out. Everybody coming. That would be an exciting Super Bowl to watch.
Marcellus Wiley.
Yeah. Don't get me started about Marcellus Wiley, man. But that definitely will be a matchup to see. So yeah, all right. These are good picks, man. We're gonna see what happens. We're gonna see if it changes. We'll probably do this again maybe halfway through the season. Let's see what happens with some of these teams, man. But another great episode. This is episode 2. Definitely another good episode. We had a lot to talk about. We're probably gonna have more to talk about next week as we're going for week 6. I'm gonna talk to the guys. I think maybe we'll implement maybe picks on some key games, maybe like the primetime games or something for next week.
I want to see the league act right this week, man. Because between this show and last show, so much has happened, man. I want to see if the NFL can get it together, man.
Hey, listen, I'm waiting for the the all inclusive commercials. We're all equal. We're all important commercials to come out for the NFL in ad nauseum between Thursday and next Monday. So look out for those. But again, another great show. Definitely follow us again on YouTube. Follow us again on Instagram. Follow us again on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook. We are everywhere. Just put in Just a Fan Podcast. You will definitely see our beautiful faces. Also, we're called Just a Fan Podcast, and we're actually on podcast. So if you use Spotify, if you use Google Podcasts, if you use Apple Podcasts, we're all over. So this episode will be on all platforms tomorrow. So check us out there. Have us on the go. Maurice, we won't have any week 6 picks this week, but we might have some week 7 picks next week. We'll have it for week 7 for sure. So we're just gonna, just be fans and enjoy watching football this weekend. Anything else for you guys? Anything you guys gotta say before we sign out?
Nope. Thanks you guys for watching. Appreciate the support.
For sure. Tell your mom, dad, your uncles and cousins, your baby mamas, baby fathers, step cousins, whole nine. Let everybody know that we're out here and we're doing our thing, man. So until next Tuesday, guys, we'll holla.
The grease is always hot in the NFL.
There you go. Peace.